All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, we have a prime example of what it means when a boycott essentially fails miserably, and it always seems to be the boycotts that come from one particular side of the aisle that fail miserably, and we have another example. So you guys already know about the original one, right? With Hogwarts Legacy, how everybody tried to boycott that game, seemingly on Twitter anyway, and they tried to shame you if you decided to want to stream the game and play the game and whatnot. They try to put you on a list and all that. You know, they have a lot in common with certain people from World War II, but that's besides the point. Apparently, the boycott that is trying to be against Hoyoverse, the ones who are behind Genshin Impact, well, that boycott has completely failed, where apparently they have made nearly $100 million just in July alone, and the Hoyoverse revenues have increased by nearly 10%.
Are there any laughs? Shut up and take my money.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the boycott, I can't help but laugh, man. The boycott that they tried to do against Genshin Impact because of, I guess diversity reasons. Remember that petition that was out there? I wonder what happened with that petition, the one that had almost 100,000 signatures, that people wanted diversity, equity, and inclusion consultants. Remember that? Yeah, because that was totally a legit petition that wasn't made to try to extort money from Genshin Impact by DEI consultancy firms. Yeah, that particular petition, well, apparently it didn't do a damn thing. So let's get into the article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says the ongoing boycott of Genshin Impact Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero developer Hoyoverse has completely failed, as Zenless Zone Zero raked in nearly $100 million in the month of July by itself. The boycotters via a change.org petition accuse Hoyoverse of cultural appropriation and whitewashing. The petition, which currently has over 104,000 signatures, states, "We call on Mihoyo to stop the cultural appropriation and whitewashing in their games and to commit to respectful and accurate representation of all cultures." Now, if you guys, I don't know if this article is going to cover it, so I'm just going to tell you ahead of time, but if you guys remember the petition, the number one demand on that petition was for Hoyo to hire DEI consultants. Yes, I'm not kidding. They want the Chinese developer to hire DEI consultants because these Chinese developers are one of the last few developers that haven't given in to the ESG DEI bullshit. They haven't hired any DEI consultancy firms in the slightest. There's not a single DEI consultancy firm that has a Chinese developer like Hoyoverse as one of their clients, and they desperately are trying to get that money. It is a lot of money to be had if they can convince this company to hire them as a consultant. So what happens from there? Well, we already know their strategy, right? We got to listen to what Kim Belair said. Kim Belair said, if they won't hire DEI consultancy firms, then you need to terrify their marketing teams and tell them what's going to happen if they don't hire them, right? So essentially trying to extort money from the company. This is what I believe is happening. Again, it's only my opinion. I don't have proof of that, but I can't shake the feeling that I'm watching another attempt at an extortion against a Chinese developer right before our eyes. We just saw this happen with Black Myth Wukong, and it seems like Hoyoverse is the next one. It says, it continues, Mihoyo, a leading game development company, has reportedly taken inspiration from indigenous cultures without proper representation and respect. Well, see, here's the thing. Taking inspiration is not actually representing, right? So they're not saying, hey, these are indigenous people from XYZ indigenous culture. They're just making characters within their own universe that might be lightly inspired by certain real life things. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to make it an actual thing. The inspiration is not actuality. Then it says, in particular, the many characters from Sumeru and Natlan in Genshin Impact and from Pinakoni in Honkai Star Rail are all clearly white or only lightly tanned at best, with the exception of some enemy NPCs, which has sparked concerns of racism among players and indigenous communities. Again, who really believes this? I don't really know, because I find it amazing that that particular petition has over 100,000 signatures, and it has done absolutely nothing to stop this game. It has done absolutely nothing for Hoyoverse to even want to reference the petition, and yet Stellar Blade's petition had less than 100,000 signatures, and Stellar Blade ended up bending the knee and releasing uncensored outfits. So I think it's pretty damn hilarious because all these people who are part of the modern audience, all of these players, like, where are these hundreds of thousands of players? I don't see any of them in real life. I just feel like people are signing because either whether they work for DEI consultancy firms or they are the DEI consultancy firm. They're probably using bot accounts to sign these petitions. It says next, it declares that cultural appropriation and whitewashing perpetuate harmful stereotypes and diminish the rich cultural heritage of indigenous communities. These practices not only misrepresent cultures, but also contribute to ongoing marginalization and disrespect. It then issues a list of demands, and this is where they lost me, right? This is where I truly believe that this is a DEI consultancy firm that's behind this nonsense. It says MiHoYo is to do the following: engage with indigenous cultural consultants, revise existing content to ensure accurate representation, commit to creating diverse and inclusive characters. This is what made me feel like all of this was bullshit, and especially the fact that all of a sudden this ridiculous Twitter profile page, HTV Boycott, just magically showed up at the same time they started making demands, and they're trying to teach people how to boycott the game. Well, guess what? It's not working. You guys are failing miserably. You can get all the voice actors that you want to join your cause, but you guys are failing miserably to extort Hoyoverse for money. That's genuinely what's happening here. The boycott and these voice actors' complaints appear to have little to no effect at all on Hoyoverse's revenue. According to Gacha Revenue, Zenless Zone Zero raked in $68.8 million from Chinese players and another $31 million from its global player base in July. That's a total of $99.8 million. Honkai Star Rail raked in $21 million from its global player base and another $19.3 million from China. That's a total of $40.3 million. Now, that is down from June, where the game raked in $35 million globally and $60.5 million in China. That's a total of $95.5 million. As for Genshin Impact, it grossed $19.3 million in China and another $18 million globally for a total of $37.3 million. That's also down from June, where it grossed $38.5 million in China and $29 million globally for a total of $7.5 million. While Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact decreased, Zenless Zone Zero made up for it. Combined, Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact saw their revenues decline by $85.4 million. However, as noted above, Zenless Zone Hero raked in $99.8 million. Now, what it is most likely is that people are probably moving from an older game to a more newer game and wanting to experience that game more so they're spending more money in that newer game. It's not exactly a very shocking thing. It's not exactly something that doesn't happen, because it does. We see it happen all the time with Call of Duty games, right? Like, your previous Call of Duty game is not going to be as profitable as the one that's currently new and fresh and trendy. So it's a thing, right? And if this new game is the one that's raking in the money, then fuck it. As long as they even out, or actually they're a little bit ahead, who cares? Overall, between Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, Hoyoverse grossed $163 million in June. In July, between Zenless Zone Zero, Genshin Impact, and Honkai Star Rail, Hoyoverse grossed $177.4 million. That's an 8.8% increase in revenue from month to month. So yeah, this boycott is doing absolutely nothing, as expected, and all it is DEI consultancy firms desperately trying to get a Chinese developer as one of their clients, because they know, I mean, look at the amount of money these companies are making. 170 something million in just 1 month is disgusting. I really don't know how else to put it other than it is fucking disgusting, the amount of money that they're making. So why wouldn't these DEI consultancy firms desperately want to try to extort these companies for a couple of $1 million? I mean, why wouldn't they want to try? It's obvious that they succeed with all the AAA developers in the West, because, you know, those Western developers are cucks, but the Chinese developers, yeah, they haven't succeeded quite yet, but they're still going to keep trying. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.